Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and another video. Today we're doing episode number 2 of the Rangers rebuild that we started last week. This is going to be season number 2, and before we get started, we're going to go through the roster and the lineups, recap y'all on what happened at the end of the last episode. Obviously, we are starting with Seager and Semien because they were signed last offseason. We signed Seiya Suzuki last year, and he had a pretty decent year. He hit 273, had about 25 home runs. All in all, pretty good. We did add Trevor Story because no one was offering on him, and he was down to an 81. And he's going to be our third baseman, I believe, for the time being. We also got good development out of Yohel Pozo, who really just didn't hit very well, but still got up to a 78 somehow. So we're going to stick with it. And Bubba Thompson played pretty well in limited at-bats in the majors last year as like a late season call-up. That's kind of what we're looking at lineup-wise. This episode, we're going to try to make a decision on either Bubba Thompson, JP Martinez, or Leody Taveras. It's seeming like Thompson's got the early lead, but we'll see. Josh Young still needs to develop. Third baseman. He's probably the third baseman of the future, in spite of the fact that we do have Story for another 5 years, looks like. So we'll have to make a decision on that. Story maybe could move to the outfield. We'll talk about how I'm going to do that if we get to it. But yeah, we need the young guys to develop. That's it for the lineup. And then for the rotation, it's kind of looking like this. We didn't really get any big starters. John Gray is still our guy for another 3 years. And ideally, he wouldn't be the ace, but in this situation, he is. We signed Greinke, but he regressed heavily, even though he pitched really well last year. He went from like an 85 to now he's a 75. Dane Dunning's young. This may be as good as Dane Dunning ever gets, which is okay. He was pretty effective last year. And then obviously we have the youngster Jack Leiter. The Rangers drafted last year. Has not pitched in the majors yet, but was okay in the minors. And then Colby Allard we just need to develop. And he looks like he's going to be pretty good. He just needs to develop in game. We did add some relievers. We added Ryan Tepera somewhere. Not real sure where he is at this moment. Okay, we added Ryan Tepera and Chris Martin to the major league level. Now we're going to sim through spring training. We also traded for Tim Hill last episode. And Jose Leclerc is our closer theoretically, but he was pretty bad last year, so we'll just have to see. So some takeaways from spring training here before we get into the regular season. Gray pitched well. Greinke's going to stay on the roster no matter what. Didn't pitch spectacularly. Dunning's going to stay on the roster no matter what. Jack Leiter is going to start in the minors. That was just not the numbers we were looking for out of spring training. He's one of our better starters theoretically, like overall wise, but he kind of got lit up, so we're going to start him in AAA. And then Colby Allard is going to start in the majors as well. And Taylor Hearn will probably be the starter that slots in instead of Leiter. So that'll be what we're kind of looking at least early on, as Yuri Rodriguez, was very effective. We may have to find a spot for him. Opening day lineup looks like this. Corey Seager, Trevor Story, Marcus Semien, Seiya Suzuki, Nate Lowe, Bubba Thompson will bat 6. We're going to keep an eye on him. If it goes poorly, we may send him down and call up JP Martinez. Adolis Garcia, I'm not sold on for this sim. He hits versus righties well, so he's going to start versus righties. But if it goes poorly, Nick Solak's going to play in the outfield full time. And then Willie Calhoun and Yohel Pozo to start off. And yeah, in AAA, to me, it's important that Young, Apostle, Martinez, and Steele Walker all get at bats, which Martinez is not currently, but he is now. It's important all of them get at bats so we can see what they have. So I'm going to bat them at kind of the top in AAA just to see. I would love to get some production out of White down there. Yeah, so that's kind of our focus. We're going to start with this. we'll see y'all at the draft, see how it's going, make some roster changes there. It is draft day. We are 22-26. Not great. We are ahead of the Astros by a half game somehow. The Angels are leading the division in the American League West. We've just gone on a couple of pretty brutal runs of not winning a lot of games in stretches. Not losing streaks, but like, losing 3 in a row, winning 1, losing 2 more in a row, and then kind of figuring it out momentarily. That's happened to us a couple of times, but it's not bad. Let's take a look at how the lineup is doing. Seager's batting .310, which is great. Story is batting .180. That is not good. Simeon's .317. That's pretty good. Suzuki and Lowe are hitting well. Bubba Thompson is leaving something to be desired. Adoli sucks. Incredible. Willie Calhoun's not great. Yohel Pozo, though, is hitting better than last year, which is such a low bar, but, it is what it is. Yanni Hernandez is hitting well as well, so that's interesting. We have to move Story down in the lineup for sure. Probably Suzuki up, and then Lowe up. I'm going to stick with Thompson for a little while longer. We're going to place Solak over Garcia for a while. And then we'll take a look down at AAA to see what's happening. Steele Walker's bad. Andy Ibanez is hitting pretty well. Apostle's hitting well. Young is okay, I guess. JP Martinez is hitting all right. Jonah Heim is just not. Eli White's hitting .300. He's figuring it out in AAA. Would love to see that extended. Pedro Martinez is hitting .326. Is there any pop down here? 5 home runs from Young. Yeah, so I don't know. It's an interesting spot we're in. Jack Leiter's pitching okay. Cole Raggins is pitching really well, as is Alan Nishi. So the pitching of the future looks okay. Tropiano, Yeri Garcia. The AAA rotation is looking really good, which is a positive thing. The Major League rotation, outside of like Hearn, is pretty good. We're actually going to switch Howard and Hearn, because Howard seems like he has earned it. We have arms in AAA that we can call up later in the year. Not going to call anybody up immediately. Those are the main changes we're going to make at this point in the year to see how it goes. And now we're going to go to the draft. We are picking 19, which is not terrible. We have scouting set to auto. Just one less thing for me to worry about. And we need probably long term. What do we need? I feel like our pitching is okay long term. We could use some relievers though. That is for sure. We don't have any of these guys scouted super highly. Do we have any closers? We do, but they don't look incredible. I'm going to take a look at the board and then we'll come back when I reach a decision. Okay, I think I have landed on Lou Harrington. Feels like the move. We're going to draft him. We'll see all the overalls and stuff afterwards. Y'all know the drill. Alright, we're going to take a flyer on a reliever because we need him in a bad way. We're going to draft Leo Perez, and we're just going to hope that that hits. Hard to really tell. We don't have him scouted very much. But in the draft, for the most part, I'm just looking for potential. As Jonathan Edwards seems like he could be interesting. I'm just looking for potential. That's it. I need it to be like at least 75. Like Tommy Norton seems like he could be okay. The problem is he's MLB ETA is 2026, and I just don't want to wait that long to draft somebody to come up and be effective. Robbie Grossman is one that stuck out to me looking through earlier. We're going to take him now, actually. He looks like he has potential to be one that rakes, maybe a DH type. As we'll draft Mackenzie Nielsen. Looks like he could be pretty good, depending upon how things go. Rob Rosario looks fairly interesting. Boris Finnegan, man, let me tell you, he looks like a Boris. We're not going to pick him, but boy, does he ever look like a Boris, is the main issue. We're going to take Brian Arnold because he's one of the last 80 potential players on the board. We'll see if we hit on any of these guys. Hopefully we did, as we'll go into sign draft picks. And it looks like we did. Lou Harrington looks pretty good right off the rip. 71 overall, 89 potential. And Mackenzie Nielsen, 59 overall right now, which is tough, but 85 potential. Brian Arnold is a 56, but he's got 83 potential. These guys are a ways away. Lou Harrington, though, is not. He looks like he's about ready immediately, which is good. This guy's already higher than his potential. I don't even know how that's possible. But here he is. So we'll sign these guys. Taking a look at All-Star voting, Marcus Semien once again leading second baseman in voting. All right, looking at the starting pitching, John Gray is up to an 80 overall. Greinke's down to a 72. Still effective, though. These are the main changes we've made. To Perez now the closer, who's not awesome, but Leclerc was the closer, and he's been terrible. We also called up John King and Brett Martin for reinforcements. Chris Martin's been pretty good. Hernandez has been pretty good. Our bullpen looks okay. It's not great. The rotation leaves something to be desired. But with that being said, Alan Nishi has been spectacular, as has Cole Raggins, so we could potentially call them up if we wanted to, as well as Yuri. Really, any of these guys we could call up. Our major league rotation, and this is going to sound sad, is not that much better than the AAA rotation. I just want these guys to not get shelled and develop a little bit more. But Alan Nishi, the guy we drafted last year, could be a player we look to move up maybe after the All-Star break. But we're going to sim to the All-Star break now, and we'll catch you all when we get there. Alex Verdugo is now a Los Angeles Angel for Reed Detmers and Trent DeVoe and Brendan Davis. And Josh Rojas is a Yankee from the Diamondbacks. At the All-Star break, we are in last place in the AL West. We are 36 and 54, really falling off a cliff here. Not great. Corey Seager has been very good. He's hitting 320 as our leadoff guy. Seiya Suzuki in the 2 holes working out great. Simeon's in a bit of a slump, it does appear, but Nate Lowe's been good. Trevor Story's been tough. Bubba Thompson's been okay. Nick Solak's been bad. Calhoun's been bad. The combo of Thompson, Solak, and Calhoun all being terrible is just not a great sign. Adolis is hitting 172. Jose Trevino should probably get more at-bats. He's only got 9 at this point. Maybe we'll platoon him with Pozo. And Yanni Hernandez is playing really well and can play the outfield. So I think what's going to happen is he's going to slide in probably in place of Thompson for a moment. How's our AAA? What do our AAA outfielders kind of look like? JP Martinez has not been good. Eli White's cooled off a little bit. That's okay. Steele Walker's not been good. See, none of these guys look like they're ready, except for Yanni Hernandez somehow. So Hernandez is going to get some more at-bats here post All-Star break. Let's see how the rotation is doing. John Gray, not bad. 4.04 ERA. Greinke's got a 3.28. Spencer Howard's been okay. Dunning's been kind of touched up a little bit. Colby Aller's developing nicely. Taylor Hearn out of the pen has been okay. The rest of the bullpen has been fine. Leclerc's getting his ERA under control. Hernandez is kind of getting his ERA under control. Yeah, it seems like we're in a decent spot. The AAA guys, Leiter, pretty good. Raggins, still pretty good. Nishi, we're going to call up probably in place of Dunning at this point. Feels like the move. Probably. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're sitting at roster-wise. The Red Sox are 34 and 55. My lord. Jacob Junis just 3 and 12 with a 6 ERA. Not great. Let's see who is in the Home Run Derby. In the Home Run Derby, Marcus Semion's in the Home Run Derby. Look at us. We're not going to play it, but he's in there. Harper, Trout, Riley, Semien, Tucker, Machado, Belt, and Judge. Semion's got 28 home runs already at this point. My lord. In the American League, it is Cole Bassett, Aaron Slegers. Interesting. Not a name I would have pulled. Shane Bieber, Carlos Rodon, White Sox in-game Giant now, as of like yesterday. Scott Barlow, Jansen's in the AL. He's an Athletic. Interesting. Nick Sandlin, no Rangers. Emmanuel Clase is developing nicely over for the Indians/Guardians. That's it for pitchers. Luis Robert, Verdugo, Trout, Vladdy, Tucker, Marcus Semien with his 28 home runs is here. Jorge Polanco, Bregman, Posey, still a Ray, still playing, still kicking. Is starting over Perez. No other Rangers on the bench. It's Buehler, Burns, Peralta, Alcantara, Albert Alzolay. The Cub, interesting. Matt Barnes, Blake Trinan, still a Dodger. Matt Barnes now a Brave. I don't believe that's true in real life. Lucas Sims is still here. Edwin Diaz is here. Giovanni Gallegos and Kirby Yates for the pitching side. And then Tatis, who he's a 99. He doesn't look like he's performing at 99 overall levels. Maybe he's making up for it defensively. I don't know. Ketel Marte, Juan Soto, Acuna, Bryce Harper, Brandon Belt, Manny Machado, JT Realmuto, and Alzi Albies are in the lineup. Raimel Tapia is just hanging out randomly. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Carter Keyboon is here. Trey Turner's also here. Hunter Renfroe, Connor Joe, the Rocky. Interesting. Some interesting names on there. Anyway, we are through the All-Star break. We're going to sim to deadline prep. I'm going to update our trade block. I think we're going to try to move some bigger pieces to unclog some of our younger minor leaguers. But we'll let y'all know what we do when we do it. The only big contract we're going to move out of, I think, is Greinke. It's just time to move on. We're not contending this year. We should send him to a contender probably. He's pitching pretty well. 3.28 ERA. Yeah, he's been effective. He has. He's just not bringing us over the top. It makes sense to try to get something back for him. He's on the last year of his deal. Okay, we've added Greinke, Story, and Kiner Falefa to the trade block. Only going to trade one of Story or Kiner Falefa, I think. We're just going to try to get... I don't even know what we want back. This is the issue, right? Because our pitching is there. It's just not there yet. Like, we have young guys coming up. Dunning's probably going to move to the pen for a little bit because he's been not so great. But, like, we have young pitchers. We have Leiter, who's a 76 overall. We have Cole Raggins. We have Alan Nishi. Even Tropino, I guess is... I know I pronounced that differently every time last video. Even Yuri Rodriguez has been quite good. Like, that starting rotation is almost better than this starting rotation. So we got to move off of Greinke. Spencer Howard, I would love to be effective long term. Because we have control over him for a while. But we do need to move off Greinke. I think Gray is going to stick around for at least another year. We got to make room. We got to make spots for some of these young guys to come up. Because they're ready now. As far as, like, positions go in the field that we're looking for, to me, I think we need to talk about outfield. Solak and Thompson are fine, but they're not great. Calhoun just is not hitting very well. Yohel Pozo's been pretty good. Trevino we've talked about. But then in AAA, like, the catcher depth for us is not great. Jonah Heim's been questionable. Sam Huff has been honestly better than Heim. Yeah, so we need some like outfield depth probably. And maybe we'll give JP Martinez a call up. We need like outfield depth and maybe some reliever depth is what we're looking for going into the deadline. Cedric Mullins is an Astro for Forrest Whitley, Brian Abreu, and Logan Wyatt. Very interesting move there. We're 2 days away. I'm going to go in and try to manufacture a trade here. Brian Reynolds is on the trade block. Why? All right, we're going to take Zach Greinke for Nate Pearson. That is a trade that has been offered to us. I believe the Jays are contending in this current simulation. So I guess they're trying to pick up an extra starter for their pennant run. We're going to take Nate Pearson. We need relievers. And it does seem like that is the easiest way to do that. All right, we're going to call up Jack Leiter to the majors. He's 76 overall. He should pitch nicely. And then Alan Nishi we're going to call up. We're going to see what they got for the rest of the year, good or bad. We're going to stick with them throughout. We're also going to send down a reliever because we just have an abundance and the minors need one. And I believe that reliever is going to be probably Nate Pearson. Okay, this is what we are looking at roster-wise and lineup-wise for the rest, or at least till September. It is going to be Seager as our leadoff man, both versus lefties and righties. He's hitting too well not to be, I think. And then Seiya Suzuki, who's taken a really good step this year. Marcus Semien, batting 3, low behind him, and then Story batting 5. We're short on offense. Maybe we'll have bat Pozo and move everybody else. That might be what we do. We're a little bit short on offense past like our top 5 hitters. And I think that's why we're not being as good as I would like us to be in Sim. There's room to grow. This team isn't bad. It's just not performing the way I would like to. It's going to be Gray, Nishi, our draft pick last year, Spencer Howard, who we traded for in 2020, I believe. And then Colby Allard and Jack Leiter are going to be the rotation, at least for now. Nishi and Leiter, I'm just going to let the rest of the season kind of progress, see where they line up. But it's not a bad rotation right now, to be honest. And then even our AAA rotation now, we're missing a couple people, so Nate Pearson probably will be there, and then we'll put in... We'll probably need to send another pitcher to the minors for them. Maybe we'll call up Glenn Otto. That's what we're going to do. We're going to call up Glenn Otto. He'll be a pitcher in AAA. And that's what we're going to rock with for now. Some side piece while I'm thinking about it. Bubba Thompson has not been great this year. I'm not going to lie to you, 229. But the reason we're keeping him in the majors and just kind of hoping he develops is because even in the minors, JP Martinez is hitting 238. And I don't think he's going to do that well in the majors if we call him up right now. He's 26, so we need to do something with him probably rather quickly. Maybe we should have tried to trade him. Or maybe we should trade him. I believe we still have time to do that. And then Steele Walker's hitting 219. That's just not good for anybody. The only people that I feel like are maybe worthy of being called up in September lineup-wise is going to be Andy Ibanez, Josh Young at third base. Blaine Krim has been really good. And then potentially Sam Huff just to see what he's got in the majors again. Jonah Heim maybe. But yeah, our AAA lineup is not looking incredibly high currently. So that's what we're kind of looking at. That's why we're sticking with Bubba Thompson. We are, I guess, going to go try to make a move with JP Martinez now, seeing that he's a little bit older for a top prospect. We're going to try to get something out of him while we can, maybe restock. He's just not developing as fast as we need him to, and the other guys are younger. I think we're going to trade him for Marcus Brito straight up. He's younger, both are A potential. Brito's 22, JP is 26. It's just a deal that we have to make. I don't think Martinez is going to develop fast enough into a major league prospect that he's worth really sticking around and sticking out for, we're going to call Leiter up to AAA, and that's going to be the moves that we made at the deadline. Fairly big move here is Carson Kelly on deadline day is now a Mariner. So we'll work on contract extensions maybe. We got to extend Leiter, clearly. Gonna push him for 3 years probably. He'll be in the rotation, I think, for the next while. That Alan Nishi for sure will do. The rest of these guys will kind of sit on. Nate Pearson, perhaps, we will sign. And the rest we'll kind of think about. Beginning of September, we are 55-72, 15 games back, pretty much eliminated from a playoff spot. We're going to take a look at how our new pitchers are doing. Gray's heating up a little bit. Nishi's pitching pretty well in the majors. 3.15 ERA, 21 strikeouts in 34 innings. Spencer Howard leaves something to be desired. Colby Allard's pitching really well. Jack Leiter's up to a 78. He's so good. He's so good already, and he's so young. He's only 22. He's going to be good for a long time. As is Allard, I think. Spencer Howard, I'd love to be getting more out of him. Nishi's pitching well. The rotation, I think, is in a decent spot. I really do. Cole Raggins is still pitching well. He's going to call up next year. Yuri Rodriguez is going to get a shot. We have a lot of starting pitching potential and not a lot of spots is going to be the issue. So Spencer Howard, it feels like, might be the odd man out going forward. We do need to call up some people, see how our AAA team is doing. AA is 21-17 in the second half. AAA is 61-57. We need to call up a couple people. For sure. And I believe the easiest way to do that is in the 40-man roster. We're going to call up Sam Huff, I think. Yeah, we're going to call up Sam Huff. And we're also going to call up Travers's 032 in AAA is not great. We're going to call up Apostle as well. Just to get him some Major League time. And the rest of these guys can stay, probably. Maybe we should call up Young. We are actually going to call up Young at this stage. We're going to move him to the MLB, and he's going to play. We're going to stick him. He's going to start at third base the rest of the year, I think. Story's hitting 201. We're not losing a lot by not having Story play at this stage. Apostle should probably play some. Nate Lowe's been really good, though. Yeah, that's going to be what we do. We're going to have Young start at third and go from there, see what kind of player he can develop into. AAA has missed the playoffs. The Rough Riders have also missed the playoffs. So it feels like we're going to get shut out of the playoffs. We still have a week to go in the regular season here. We're playing to October 9th. Unreal. We're going to simp through the end of the year at this point. And we finished decently, 70-92. Our last week was okay. We won 3 in a row at some point. October, we were above 500. Let's take a look at the stats here for our team. Willie Calhoun played all 162 games, and he hit 211, which is not spectacular. Corey Seager led the team with hits. Simeon second. Simeon had to lead the team in home runs. He did. Home run derby representative. He hit 39. Nate Lowe with 27 isn't bad. Seager hit 26. Simeon led the team in RBIs. Bubba Thompson had 10 stolen bases. We're just not stealing a lot. I'm okay with that, though. Best average was Jose Trevino. Had 9 at-bats the whole year. Somehow Yohel Pozo just caught a ton, I guess. Corey Seager hit 303. Suzuki at 297. Kiner Falefa hit 285. In like 256 at-bats. As a platoon player, that's not bad. Yanni Hernandez also hit pretty well. Jose Trevino is going to blow these stats out of the water. Corey Seager had nearly a 400 on base percentage. Wow. Huh. Interesting. Who led the team in slugging? Or OPS, excuse me. Marcus Semien. For the most part, Seager, I guess, won in the players that played the most. Seiya Suzuki, Marcus Semien, Yanni Hernandez, and Nate Lowe. All pretty good. Corey Seager led the team in walks. Nate Lowe and Bubba Thompson led the team in strikeouts. Seiya Suzuki had 37 doubles. Any triples? Yanni Hernandez had 7. Wow. Let's see who led the team in WAR, and then we'll go through the pitchers. Corey Seager had a 6.3 WAR. Semien 4.4. Nate Lowe, Seiya Suzuki, Nick Solak actually had a very good WAR for as bad as I thought he was doing. Okay, so now 4 pitchers. Who led the team in wins? John Gray, Spencer Howard. We didn't have a pitcher go above 500 except for Nishi, which is not great. Not great. Not great. Who led the team in losses? Gray, and Howard. Ryan Tepera had 38 saves, was pretty good. We may need to bring him back. Still thinking about it. Tim Hill, 3.20 ERA. Taylor Hearn wasn't bad as far as saves go. Check out the ERA numbers. Spencer Howard had the highest. Cole Raggins didn't pitch. Meant to stick him in the rotation. Didn't pitch. Had a 0 ERA because he didn't pitch. Brett Martin, Chris Martin, Ryan Tepera. Who led the team as far as starting pitchers go? Colby Allard pitched pretty well. Alan Nishi in his short time. Leclerc finally got his ERA under control, which you do love to see. As far as whip goes, Brett Martin was really good. Tim Hill, Ryan Tepera. So the bullpen, all reasonable. We'll see who had the most holds. Leclerc did at 20. And then as far as WAR goes, Taylor Hearn with 2.6, John Gray 2.1, Nishi 1.3, Leiter at 1. Nishi and Leiter at 1 for as little time as they spent in the majors is really encouraging, as Leclerc had 11.3 Ks per 9. Is there anybody that didn't walk anybody? Tim Hill. Colby Allard was good at that. Interesting. We're going to take a look at the league leaders now. Something we forgot to do last year. Mike Trout led the league with 327 batting average. Corey Seager third. Hits, Bregman at 186. Yuli Gurriel is a Philly apparently at 188 hits. Mike Trout hit 49. Marcus Semien at 7. RBIs. Marcus Semien at 4 with 105. Luis Robert. Austin Riley had 127, my lord. Stolen bases, Jonathan VR had 35. D. Gordon at Pirate had 38. Vlad walked a lot. On base percentage, not super interested. OPS, Mike Trout. This is an MVP caliber season, I would have to think, with the home runs and OPS numbers. Austin Riley could win MVP in the NL, which is unreal. Garrett Cole had 21 wins. Brandon Woodruff led the NL with 19. As far as saves go, Liam Hendricks, the Aussie boy, led with 52, and that led the league. Kirby Yates is now a Rocky. Interesting stuff. We're going to simulate through the postseason and get to the offseason, and we can start making moves. So I'll see y'all then. The Yankees defeat the Dodgers in year 2. We'll take a look at who won the awards at this point, as DJ LeMahieu was World Series MVP. Back-to-back New York MVPs, I believe. Postseason was DJ LeMahieu and Will Smith. Let's see who won MVP. Mike Trout did, above Garrett Cole in the American League. Brandon Belt won the MVP over Austin Riley and Bryce Harper. Cy Young goes to Cole. Severino 2. Woodruff and Burns for the Brewers. Top 2 in the National League. The batting title goes to Mike Trout. Corey Seager 3. Reliever of the year is Nick Anderson and Tyler Rogers in the National League. Nick Anderson got to 70 saves. I assume that's going to also count the postseason, because that's an impressive number. Tyler Rogers got to 44. Or no, excuse me, he got to 50 saves. I'm reading that wrong. He got to 70 strikeouts. I am an idiot. Rookie of the Year is Trey Sweeney for the Athletics. Spencer Tolkerson for the Rockies. Good stuff, good stuff. Let's see if we want any gold gloves. I don't believe that we would have. Joey Gallo wins his second consecutive. Judge wins his second consecutive. Silver Slugger, the only one I think is Marcus Semien at second base. Jazz Chisholm in the National League at second base. No other Rangers. So not a terrible look. So I guess we'll take a look at the standings. We finished 70 and 92. The A's won the division. Nobody won a crazy number of games. The Yankees won 104. Dodgers won 102. Makes sense they were in the World Series against each other. We're going to simulate to the offseason, make some moves. First, though, we're going to take a look at retired players. Logan Forsythe retires. A name that I recognize. He's on the White Sox. Ryan Braun for the Royals has retired. It does seem those are going to be the two main guys. David Price retires after year 2. Miguel Aguilar, Angel Aguilar. Yeah, no real big names. Homer Bailey retires as a free agent. We need a manager and a hitting coach and a pitching coach. So we probably need to take a look at that. Ryan Tepera was so good for us. We're going to make him an offer. I think we need to. We have $31 million in our budget to mess with here. I think Tepera is well worth it. I think we'll bump up the years. We won't. We'll go 2 years. I feel good about 2 years. He might be our closer for a little while. Yeah, he might be our closer for a little while. 3.6 a year for Tepera feels decent, and we'll offer that to him. He is our only free agent thing. We're not going to rebrand. We do need to look for a manager, though, apparently. So I'm going to do that, and I'll catch you guys up once we find one. Kurt Warner is here. He has changed skin pigmentation. I believe we're going to go Sandy Alomar as our pitching coach. Just kind of feels like the move. $1.1 million a year feels like a decent deal for him. As far as managers go, it's tough. Mark DeYoung is our hitting coach. We have 37 men on our 40-man roster. So we need to make some decisions probably. As far as arbitration goes and tendering contracts, there's some big free agent names. We're going to take a look at the free agent pool first, and then I'll go make some decisions on arbitration and tendered guys. We need to see, as Judge is here, Jose Ramirez is here, Aaron Nola is here as a potential ace, Trey Turner is getting offered, Edwin Diaz, Wilson Contreras as a catcher could be rather interesting. He was bad the last couple of years, though, so maybe not. Colton Wong, Ketel Marte, Buster Posey still is not retired. Clayton Kershaw could bring in as a Zach Greinke type for us. Gary Sanchez is here, Brandon Nemo's here, Tim Anderson, Dansby Swanson's here, Benintendi's here. There's a lot of big names here, like a lot. So we're going to try to get better, I think, obviously. Joey Gallo, we could bring him back. His average is bad, but we could use another outfielder. Kyle Gibson, former Rangers here. There's a lot. So what do we actually need? I guess should be the first thing we kind of look at here. Realistically, we need like a third baseman. Although we do have Kiner Falefa. So maybe we don't. Looking at it, I think I've landed on we need an outfielder and some pitching, like a reliever. I think we're okay starting-wise between Leiter, Nishi. Gray is fine at this stage. Taylor, Hurd, and Howard I'm not ready to move on from yet, I don't think. And then Cole Raggins is going to start in the majors this next year. He is 25 and an A potential, so we need to get him probably rolling in the majors sooner rather than later. We have a young pitching staff, which is encouraging. I think this year, hopefully, they take a big step forward. We could use some relievers, and then we need some outfielders. At catcher, between Pozo and Trevino, I think it's fine. It's not a killer duo, but I think it's good enough. And we do have like Huff behind, still down in AAA, which I hope he develops, but at this point it's not looking great for that. Nate Lowe at first is still fine. Like Simeon at second base and Solak are going to be there for a while. Marcus Brito, I guess, would be the second baseman of the future if you wanted to say that. Kiner Falefa at third base is still fine. Josh Young is going to start in the majors, though, next year, as is Apostle. Like, we have a lot of young players. We just need them to develop at this point. So we are going to take a look in free agency. There are some big outfielders. We're going to take a look at relievers first. Edwin Diaz is here. He could be the closer that we're looking for. We do have like 29 mil to mess around with. Chad Green is here. Keone Kela Britton is here. He had a killer year last year. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a reliever, probably, is what we look for. There's only two big ones. So I guess we'll make an offer on... How did Diaz pitch last year? Not bad. How did Green pitch last year? Really good. We're going to make an offer on Chad Green. I think we're going to go outfield first and then just kind of bank on we have enough arms to get us, through. Brandon Nemo's an interesting outfielder for me. He's a Met, obviously, coming from the Mets. And he's pretty good. I don't think Ketel Marte is the one we're going to have to go after, although he is really good. Joey Gallo could be one we sign later. But I think we're going to make an offer on Nemo for $18 a year. We'll see if that moves the needle for him. Hopefully it does. Nomar Mazara, former Ranger, is here. Have no interest in him. Just interesting that he's here. And then as far as the rest of this goes, like outside of Posey, who I don't really want to sign, there's no catcher here that I would rather have long-term over Pozo. Like Max Stassi, I guess, but he's not even that big of a step up. Gary Sanchez is like not that big of a step up in my opinion either. Chapman's here. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to sit on it for a minute. Brandon Nemo is a Pirate, which is unfortunate because that was going to be a big sign for us. Now we'll go back into free agency and see what else is out there. I believe at this point we're going to make an offer on... Oh, who do we want to make an offer on? Mitch Haniger, I suppose. Although he's been bad. It might have to be... I just don't want to outbid the Yankees because it feels like so much. Like $30 million a year, $31 a year for Ketel Marte. He's probably worth that. But that's like all of our money for free agency. And I just don't really want to do that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to offer Adam Frazier a lot of money for a lot of years, and hopefully he accepts. We're going to go like 10 a year. Feels right for Adam Frazier, and he is going to play the outfield if I had to guess. We're giving him an extra year for about the same amount of money as the Mariners do. Hopefully we land that. He's going to play the outfield if he comes here. He's not going to play over Semien. He's going to be like a primary center fielder probably. Maybe left fielder. We might move Suzuki back to right. That's going to be one that we hope we sign. Jose Ramirez, just no real reason for him to come to Texas. Josh Young is our third baseman of the future. Is he going to be better than Ramirez? Hard to say. Probably not. Trey Turner's here. He's a little bit expensive for us at this stage. And we have middle infield locked up between Seager and Semien. So unless Turner was also going to play the outfield, there's just not really room for him at this stage. And then the other guy we're going to go after, we're going to throw an offer at Gallo. We're going to throw him 5 years. 12 a year feels fair. He's won 2 straight Gold Gloves. If we land him, we land him. That's great. If not, we don't. Okay, those are the 2 big ones for now. I'm going to go into arbitration and figure that out and tender a bunch of contracts because I know that's tedious and boring and not fun to watch. So I'll see y'all in a second. All right, we've offered Tim Hill and Taylor Hearn arbitration. We've tendered contracts to everybody. Okay, for the most part now, we're just waiting to see on Adam Frazier and Gallo. Hopefully we get both of them. At least one of them would be very helpful for us, as that would help our outfield situation tremendously. Jose Ramirez is a Philly. I'm just going to sim day by day. As we've offered salary arbitration. That, to everybody we want to. Adam Frazier is a Texas Ranger. He's here for 6 years, about $10 million a year. That is not bad. Now we're just waiting on Gallo. We'll make an offer on Britton. 2 years for $4 million seems fine for Britton, to be honest. Maybe we'll bump it down a little bit right at 4. Yeah, I mean, he's looking, he wants probably longer. We'll offer it to him. I don't expect him to take this, but he would be a nice add if he does. And that's pretty much all I'm looking at here as far as free agents go. Sandy Alomar is our pitching coach. Colton Wong is an A. Aaron Nola is a Yankee. Joey Gallo accepted. Zach Britton accepted. So now we need to get rid of some salary because we have negative $418,000 right now because both of those people signed, which is great, but also we need a manager. So that is awfully tough. We need to clear some space so we can hire a manager. So let's take a look at the budget. And let's see who's got a big contract we can move, or a fairly big contract we can move. Kiner Falefa could be one we move. Jose Leclerc could be one we move. Even Jonathan Hernandez maybe could be one. We're going to try to move... Okay, Jonathan Hernandez to the Blue Jays gets us Vladimir Valencia and Adam Kloffenstein from the Blue Jays. That should clear up enough money for us to hire a manager, which I did not think was going to be an issue, but apparently it now is. So we need to do that, probably. And we don't have a ton of money to do that. So I'll be back in a moment. Buster Posey is a Cub. Joe Musgrove is a Red Sox. I'm just waiting on the manager thing to go through, and then we're probably done at this point. Tim Anderson is a Giant. He's just been moving all around this sim. Chad Green is a Dodger. Not super worried about that one, as we still don't have a manager, do we? How do we not have a manager? How is this the issue? I mean, we're the only one that's offered. Please take it, John. Please take it. We've tendered contracts to everybody, I believe, that we want to. We've offered on all of these guys. We're going to pass on the bottom 3. We've offered arbitration to everybody. We literally just need the manager, and we have it. John Scott, Rangers manager for the next 3 years. We're gonna have to figure out some money issues in the next season, but our team is pretty good. So we're gonna simulate the spring training at this point. Jake Cronenworth is a Diamondback. As we're just here waiting. Mike Minor is one of the top available free agents. The free agency pool has pretty much dried up, but I think we got everybody that we needed to. Mike Minor's at the top. James Hoyt, David Robertson at this point we have no interest in. Yeah, it's not bad. Spring training time is here. We're going to close this video by looking at our lineups. We have Seager, Suzuki, Semien, Nate Lowe, Pozo, Kiner Falefa, Solak, Calhoun, and Thompson. Then obviously Frazier, who's going to play a bunch. Gallo's on the bench. We're going to have a lot of competition during this next spring training to see who gets to play, who gets to stay, who's getting sent to AA, AAA, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be really interesting, for sure. As we take a look at the pitching rotation, it goes Gray, Nishi. Actually, it's going to go Gray, Leiter, Nishi. And then Allard probably, and then Spencer Howard. Cole Raggins is going to be the 5th starter for now. Yeah, it's gonna be a real interesting team. It really is. I'm excited for it. Season 3 later this week. If you made it this far in the video, thank you, and we'll catch you all in the next one.